Welcome to Casey Cares, the voice of Kansas City's nonprofits. We share the stories of local nonprofits and the individuals who drive them. At Casey Cares, we connect the nonprofit and business sectors to enhance the quality of life in Kansas City for both residents and visitors. This Casey Cares segment is brought to you by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, www.kaufman.org. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. Music is magical. It can bring even the most opposite people together, bridging cultural divides and building community. Since 1986, the Heartland Men's Chorus has been building those kinds of bridges. This volunteer chorus of LGBTQ folks and allies celebrates the pride and focus on making a positive cultural contribution through song. Here to share more about this inspiring musical group is its executive director, Dudley Hogue, who I've known since he was probably 5. So I just full disclosure there, folks.
We didn't need to talk about how long we've known each other, Ruth.
Well, I didn't say how old we are, so see, that's good. We've just known each other for a hot minute. It's so great to have you on the show and to talk about this wonderful organization. Let's start folks off who may not know about your group, what you are, what you do, how you even came to be, if you have that bit of information for us.
I do. Imagine that. The Heartland Men's Chorus identifies as a gay men's chorus here in Kansas City. We do welcome anyone who can sing in the TTBB range to join the chorus. So we have had female members, we have transgender members, we have members of the straight ally community, and we have people who identify in all ways on the spectrum in the LGBTQ community. We started in 1986 on the front porch of a house in South Hyde Park, or rather North Hyde Park, I should say, by a group of, 6 or 8 guys sitting on the front porch. One of them had been to a Gala Choruses Festival, I'll talk more about that in just a moment, in Minneapolis, and he came back and said, why doesn't Kansas City have a gay men's chorus? And therefore, it got started. It started with about 30 members. We're up to about 140 now.
Wow.
Yeah, we're growing in leaps and bounds, especially since COVID, which is interesting. Since the COVID pandemic, we've grown in every way. And I think it was partly because we're on Zoom today, and we were doing concerts on Zoom.
Wow.
We didn't really like doing that because that's not what we did. However, I digress. But since COVID, we have grown immensely. So we are up to about 140 members. The chorus started as a safe place for members of the gay community to meet and sing and spread a message that they wanted to share with the community. But it quickly was impacted by the AIDS epidemic. And we were singing they were singing more at memorial services and other protest marches and things like that than they were doing actual concerts. The chorus has grown since then, obviously. And we're still here. And next year is 40 years of singing out in Kansas City.
That's wonderful. I'm just thinking back to 1986 and what the world was like at that point. What a brave decision of those men to come together. Are any of those folks still involved?
A few of them are. I've been doing some research in preparation for our 40th anniversary, and I've contacted several of the founding members and had chats. And we have a couple people in the chorus that consider themselves to be founding members. They may not have been on that meeting on the front porch, but they joined very quickly after that and helped the organization develop into what it is today. It was a very brave moment. And it was a very brave moment for some churches and some colleges around town that allowed these men to perform and do their concerts, because we haven't always been able to do major concerts at halls like the Folly and Kaufman and Yardley Hall and things like that. So it was a brave move on a lot of people's radar.
It
really was
at that point in time.
Yeah.
So 1986 it starts to pick up a little bit of momentum. What was the decision, if you know, to say, okay, let's make this a nonprofit, let's make it or a formal organization?
They incorporated in 1986. In September of 86, they knew right away that they wanted to be a not-for-profit organization. There were a couple of attorneys that were involved
Part
in
of it.
the early days.
That always helps, right?
Always helps. And we have a few attorneys on our board today, which always helps as well. But they decided they wanted to be a not-for-profit way early. And it has done well for us. Obviously, we can take donations, and we do receive grants and foundation gifts and donor gifts from organizations that help us because we are a 501c3, and they do get a benefit from that. Other than our message and our hearts, they get a benefit on their tax returns as well, and that's been great. So,
how do you go about fundraising? Because let's face it, it's there are folks that aren't always friendly to the gay community, and it ebbs and flows with whoever is in the administration. So, I know that's probably part of your portfolio as the executive director. So, if you can share how that goes. Yeah.
I learned a long time ago that the worst thing people can say when you ask them for money is no. And that's what we do. We fundraise in every way we can think of fundraising. We have individual donors, and we do campaigns to keep them engaged and to ask them to renew their gifts. We have corporate sponsorships of small organizations, small businesses, and a few larger businesses that support us through cash donations and or in-kind donations. We also do fundraising events every year. We have a big event that used to be called, many watching this will remember, Dinner of Note. We now call it Evening of Note instead of dinner. And then we have an event usually in the spring that's called Elevate, which is an event where we like to elevate the vision and mission of the organization and ask for your support. We also do things like annual end-of-year appeals. We do all of those mail, written, now more online, obviously, and of course, social media assists us in fundraising, and any idea that anybody has coming in to the organization or on the board is very welcome. We are getting ready for our 40th anniversary, as I mentioned a minute ago, and so fundraising for the chorus is going to be a major, major focus next year. We would like to increase our endowment. We would like to end the year in the black, which we are proud to do most of the time. But we do anything and everything, including playing bingo, including playing pickleball, including having wine pulls and auctions and other things like that throughout the course of the year. So we fundraise in every way we can think of.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. Shameless plug. Where's the best place to find that information? You can go ahead and do that.
The best place to go is hmckc.org. That's HMCKC, as in Heartland Men's Chorus, Kansas City, .org. There's a big old donate button right there, and you click on that. You can donate a one-time gift, or you can even make it a recurring gift if you'd like to. It can be in honor or memory of someone if you would prefer. And we have several of those gifts that we include in our listing in the programs, but that's where you go, hmckc.org. There you are. Shameless plug,
right.
Ruth.
All right, so somebody might say, you're a singing group. Why do you need money? Tell us a little bit about the operational side, so people do have an understanding that it's more than just standing up in a theater singing a song.
Well, yeah, it is. I can tell you that standing up in the theater singing a song costs a lot of money. Simply that costs a lot of money. It is an organization with a budget, and this is public information, so I'm not afraid to tell you, we've got a budget of about $800,000 a year. Next year, it will be a little larger than that because of our 40th anniversary celebrations. There are two people that are full-time on the staff, myself as the executive director and Sean Cullen as our artistic director and conductor. We also have a half-time operations manager in the office. We have a communications manager. We have a brand manager. When we do concerts, we need, as you well know, a stage manager and a choreographer, and sometimes a costume coordinator, etc. All of those roles we pay those people. All of those roles are paid positions. We also, when we do concerts, hire musicians. This last concert we did, we had 4 people in the pit, besides our wonderful and stellar accompanist, Lamar Sims, who I did not mention in the list of staff before because I wanted to tie him to concerts. So he is also a part-time employee of the organization because he does help us through rehearsal periods and all of those kinds of things. So it's expensive to run. The concerts cost us quite a bit of money. If you've seen a concert, you know we do not just stand there and sing. It is a full production with lighting, sets, sound, costumes, props sometimes, special guest artists every once in a while. And those concerts are very expensive to put on. A lot of the performing arts houses that we can fit in that are large enough for us are union houses, which means their staff are all theatrical union personnel, which is fabulous. It also is more expensive to do those concerts in those halls, but those people also elevate our concerts because they are so wonderful and are so professional and know exactly what it is that they are doing. All of that is accounted for in that budget of approximately $800,000. Right. We also depend a huge amount on volunteers. Our board of directors are all volunteers. Our section leaders, the president of our chorus, are members of the Heartlight section, which is what we refer to as the 5th section. They're non-singing members of the chorus, which sounds weird to some people, but they are at rehearsals, they are at chorus events, willing to help in any way they can. They sometimes come by the office and help with projects. They do all kinds of things that keep the chorus going in the background. And then, of course, we have tons of committees that work, and most of those people, well, all of those people are volunteers. Some of those people are not members of the organization, but are members of the community that support us and want to help us out. So it's a big operation.
It is a big operation. We're talking with Dudley Hogue. He is the executive director of the Heartland Men's Chorus, which is lapping up to its 40th anniversary. So, folks, if you're listening, stay tuned because I'm sure it will be very big things coming ahead. Dudley, were you ever a member of the chorus?
Oh, yeah. I started singing, and that's how I came to know the chorus. Was I auditioned to sing in 1993. I was 6.
Right.
I'm kidding. I auditioned in 1993, sang with the chorus, and Ruth knows a little bit about me and my past, and she probably already knows that when I agree to do something, I usually jump in with both feet.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yes, I do. It's okay. And when I did, I joined the chorus in 1993. By 1996, I was chair of the board of directors of the chorus because at that point, the board of directors was all singing members. We have now grown to the point where we are no longer all singing members. We have a lot of community members on the board. But I joined in 1993. In 1996, my late husband and I moved to New York City, where I became the executive director for the New York City Gay Men's Chorus. That wasn't planned before I moved. We went because of a job opportunity, career opportunity for John. But we were in New York City for 5 years. I became involved with the New York City Gay Men's Chorus and then became involved with the Gala Choruses movement. They asked me to join their board of directors, and I did for 6 years. And then we moved back to Kansas City, and I became involved back again with Heartland Men's Chorus. So that's where I was. And I was singing member up until probably about 2010. And then I took a little break and did a bunch of theater around town. And because it's impossible to do both at the same time on a regular basis. And did a bunch of theater in town. And then I got back into the chorus. And in 2019, came on staff as the development director. And then 3 years ago, moved up to the executive director position. So that's where I am.
I would say you have your stripes.
It's not my first rodeo, usually, on a lot of the things we talk about. And all of these wrinkles are well earned.
They're wisdom wrinkles is how I like
that's
to refer
exactly
to them.
right. Wisdom wrinkles is a good way to put it.
Let's talk about how somebody becomes a member of the course. You said it is for anyone who gay, straight, but feels comfortable aligning. But you just sign up and come? How does that work?
No, no, you don't just, you do sign up for an audition. What we do is you can also go to hmckc.org, and there's a place right there where you can click on to find out about auditions. We have auditions 3 times a year. We do 3 main concerts for our season, and right before we start rehearsals for each of those, we do auditions. Yeah, we do auditions. Not everyone gets in. A lot of people do. The audition process is getting a little bit more difficult, but don't let that scare you, because it's still you can still get in if you want to. We allow you to come to rehearsals and then decide if you want to audition. It can be, as you know, Ruth, auditioning for theater and other productions. When you walk into a room with 140 people who all know each other, or pretty much all know each other, and are standing there and they're ready to go and they sing and it's beautiful, and you're like, holy moly, this is going to be really difficult, and it can be a little overwhelming. But once you get in, and once you get there, and once you meet some of these people, and then finally audition, it is one of the greatest things that can ever happen to you. And I don't say that just because of my job. I say that because of experience of my own. It truly is pretty wonderful. But just go to the website and you can find out everything you need to know about auditions.
Once you become a member, do you have to re-audition every year, or are you in?
It's kind of a combination. You're in.
Okay.
You do not have to re-audition unless you take some time off. If you take some time off, as many members do, life happens. Jobs get in the way, family things get in the way, and people have to take a concert off here, a concert off there. If you take too many off, you have to re-audition. And every once in a while, Sean, our artistic director, does what he refers to as revoicing. And that means at the beginning of the year, he's going to come in and you're going to have to go sing for him individually. Kind of like an audition. You're not auditioning to get into the group, but you are allowing Sean to hear your voice to see if there are any changes. I used to be a tenor 1. That's a real high tenor. Yep. I'm not anymore. I am a tenor 2 at best, I think. And so Sean could say, hey, Dudley, I think perhaps we would best use your talent in the tenor 2 section rather than the tenor 1 section. So that's kind of the revoicing thing that happens. And that happens every once in a while, maybe once every 3 years or something.
How do you go about choosing the genre of music that you perform? Mm-hmm. What kind of goes into that mix?
Well, we have some traditions, and we also have the opportunity to add new things to our repertoire. We open our seasons with a holiday concert. Pardon me. It's almost always the first weekend in December, and many people use that as the official opening of the holiday season for them. And that concert is almost always at the Folly Theater, and used to be called the Christmas concert. Obviously, we have changed that. It's now the holiday concert. I refer to it as the holiday extravaganza because it usually gets pretty wild and crazy. But it is a concert of traditional, new, spiritual, non-spiritual music that celebrates many traditions, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all sorts of holidays that happen within that very busy time of year. And so that's our holiday concert. So we pretty much stick to that kind of format for that, because that's really what people want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it is our best-selling concert. So we don't want to, you don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. Then we do our March concert, which is now referred to as our Pops concert. A few years ago, we started picking stars and focusing on them only. So we did the Whitney concert, we did the Cher concert. Last year, we did Princes of Pop, because we had dealt with the female side of the pop world for a while. So we went with the guys. This year, we just wrapped up Y'all Means All, which is our pop concert that was country western music.
Oh, wow.
It was absolutely fabulous, flawless. It was a great concert. And that just wrapped up. And then in the summertime, we do what we refer to as our Pride concert. It's almost always in June, has been for the last several years. June is, of course, Pride Month. And they're a little bit more political, a little bit more activism oriented, centered around that kind of thing. And we're getting ready to start rehearsals for that one. It's going to be called Do It With Heart. We, of course, use the word heart a lot in our group naming and in our events and stuff, because we are the Heartland Men's Chorus, and it's very important to us. So we're doing a Do It With Heart tour and then concert in June, and then we get to open up our 40th anniversary season.
That's very exciting. How often does the chorus rehearse?
Every Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night from late August, early September through June, whenever we finish. This year, it's going to be the last weekend in June. So August through June, they rehearse every Tuesday. And then every concert cycle, there is at least one rehearsal that we call a SIR. It stands for our Saturday Intensive Rehearsal. And that usually goes from something like 8:30 to 4.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's a long, full day that we provide lunch and do all that stuff for the chorus members, of course. We take some of that time to talk about business if we need to a little bit, but most of it is rehearsal and reading through, and not reading through, because usually they're later in the cycle, but singing through the entire concert. When you put things together piece by piece by piece by piece by piece, and then pretty soon it's got to all come together. And the SIR rehearsals are really, really, really helpful with that process. So it's a lot of time commitment.
But you got to learn all that music too. So
learn all that music.
Joyous. I don't want time to run out before we talk about some of the outreach things that the chorus does. Can you share with us what you do besides the singing?
Well, besides the singing, we do things like, at the Y'all Means All concert, this past concert, we did a food drive for the Shepherd Center. And the Shepherd Center is a group here in town that assists elderly members of the community, and they have begun to reach out especially to members of the LGBTQ community who are elderly. Sure. And some of their programs have been cut with recent budget cuts from the administration. And so we decided we could help a little bit by providing a food drive opportunity for our audiences. So we did that. We have worked with AIDS Walk and the AIDS Service Foundation for years. We have worked with the Pride organization here in town, obviously, to assist in any way we can with them. But we've also done all kinds of singing community outreaches where we perform for corporations, for organizations. We sang at the opening of the new airport. We sang at the opening of the Disney exhibit at Union Station. But we've also done all kinds of marches, appearances at political rallies, or things such as that. We also have helped out many organizations like CASA and Save Home and Hope Care Center. There we go. Hope Care Center and other organizations that help those with HIV and AIDS, or the Susan Komen, we sang for them. Breast cancer organization, we have done tons of outreach community engagement performances, and we have a very long list that we're going to try to do for next year when we're 40. So, yeah.
I read on the website that you also do some things in area schools.
We have done some things in area schools. Most of them were pre-COVID. There are some plans in the making for a youth component of the chorus. We'll see how quickly that can develop. We used to do a program called Schools with Heart, which meant we went into middle schools and high schools with a small group of people that worked with student organizations within those schools to help further understanding about the LGBTQ community, might be working with their GSA organization or some other student organization that supports the LGBTQ community. And then it would culminate with a concert in the school with some of our members and the school kids singing together, which was really, really cool. We hope to get something started again soon. Of course, COVID closed everything down,
right?
And so since then it's been a little hard to get started, but we're working at it.
We have just a couple minutes left. Kind of the white elephant in the room. How are you all dealing in the current political environment, which is, we'll put it out there, not the most friendly to the LGBTQ community?
Well, we don't feel very good about it. It is not the current administration is not friendly to the LGBTQ community, and it is also not friendly to the arts community.
Right.
So it's a double whammy. We, of course, are a not-for-profit, so we have to be very careful about our political involvement.
Sure.
Things. We can be political. We cannot endorse candidates. We cannot, that kind of thing. So we are very careful about sticking away from that. But I will tell you that, we don't go very long periods of time without the hate mail, without the messages when we will put out a social media post, for example, about our concert, and then people will respond that we shouldn't even be allowed to do concerts and that we, shouldn't be allowed to do things. That came up a lot when we did the Disney concert at Kauffman Center a couple years ago. A wonderful, wonderful concert in collaboration with the Disney Corporation that was picketed. And we got a lot of hate mail because we were trying to indoctrinate children and we were trying to do things that, we're not trying to do. We simply want to spread a message of joy and hope and let people do with that what they can and what they will. But it's a little hard operating in the current days because every day you read something else that's anti who you are and anti what you do. And that gets very exhausting very quickly. I know that everybody watching this has probably heard at least something about the Kennedy Center and organizations that are being stopped from having their concerts and productions there. One of our sibling choruses, the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington, D.C., is one of those victims. And I call them victims because I think that's what they were, of canceling a concert with no apparent reason other than the fact that it's a gay men's chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we're sorry. We're happy you're here and you bring joy into the community. What a great thing for people who love to sing and want to do it, I think, for the right reasons of spreading positivity and joy. And as we started the beginning of our conversation about, creating bridges, building community. So thank you for what you do. And we can't wait to hear about the 40th. Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's going to be very exciting.
Thanks, Dudley. Really appreciate your time. Go Heartland Men's Chorus.
Thank you, Ruth. We appreciate it too. I really, really appreciate you being here. I'm allowing me to be here. Sorry. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you for joining us. I'm Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice, and we're produced by a nonprofit as well called Charitable Communications. This Casey Cares segment was brought to you by the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation, www.kauffman.org. Now, if you'd like to be a guest, you can go to our website, which is kccaresonline.org, and spread the love. You find us on Facebook and Twitter at KC Cares Radio and Instagram at KC Cares Online. And don't forget, you can catch us Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on ESPN 1510 AM and 94.5 FM. Thanks for joining us on KC Cares.